McCLUE. The evening with the internet phone in. How amazing is that? Welcome, 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 I say. Lovely to have you with us and DINKY-DOO. Time is 9 o'clock, Thursday evening, Thursday, the 2nd of December, 2021. I can't believe how fast everything is moving. I shall say good evening, everyone, in the chat, and you can come and join me. Fantastic stuff. Evening, Scottie. How are we today? Drewski out in the north of America. DINKY-DOO. Drewski, I was thinking Detroit was the place that was springing to mind. Are you very far from Detroit? There we are. I know it used to be the center of the car industry and it's had a tough time, but I'd quite like to go to Detroit. It looks as if it's actually very beautiful in its setting. Hi, Scottie, says Sandy. DINKY-DOO, Sandy. I'm 3 hours from Detroit. Well, that's not too bad, Drewski. Is that 3 hours driving? Yes, indeed. Fantastic stuff. Have you been? You're late, Scottie. Wrong, numpty head. We are never late. Any more of that, and you'll get a lifetime ban. In fact, we were actually a bit early tonight. So you need to get your act together, numpty head. What you mean is you joined us late. Yes, now we're talking. There we are. Fantastic. McClue is never, ever late. Good evening, Scottie, DINKY-DOO, unless, of course, it's a technical thing, but McClue's never late. Good evening, Scottie, says Charlie. Hello, Charlie. Lovely to have you with us. And a big DINKY-DOO evening, says Haldy. Haldy Pottinger. Top man, yes. Driving. Have been to Detroit quite a few times. They've done the city quite nicely. So I know I'd had a tough time. Been through a bit of a recession after the motor industry. Evening, Scottie, your friend Long John here. Great to see you again, and great to be back. Long John Terry, lovely to have you back. Kareem says, DINKY-DOO. Hi, Scottie. And Kareem, hello, Susan. How lovely to have you with us. I'm just going to check the phones in case anybody wants to give us a buzz. There we are. I know Kareem likes to phone. Good evening from Inverkip, says Shugly. We love Inverkip on here. And DINKY-DOO, I say. Who's this? You're live on Scottie's phone in?
DINKY-DOO, it's Kareem, Scottie.
DINKY-DOO, Kareem, lovely to hear you. Well done. You got through right away.
Thank you very
Had
much.
you tried before, Kareem?
I did, yes.
So the lines are maybe acting up a little bit at the start.
Right.
And Glenn in Sheffield says he tried to ring us.
Right. It was just coming up the person that you tried to contact, obviously cannot get contacted,
Yeah.
and then the lines opened, so they were fine.
Well, I had the same thing. I went to ring Alex Belfield last night to give him a piece of my mind.
Right.
His was doing the same, so I think it just gets overloaded.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's Kichin, and it did. Downtown was a very scary place. They've done a lot of work and invested a lot. We're talking about Detroit in North America.
Right. Lovely.
Yeah, the home of the Henry Ford's office, and then apparently it was just sort of open to the weather, you know.
Yes. Well, mentioning over in America, Scottie, see the next elections when they come up in America.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump will run for it? And if he did run for it and wins, technically, could he serve another 2 terms?
Yes. Yes, as far as I know, if he's fit and well, there's no reason why he wouldn't run. I think he will run. I think when everything shook down, I mean, we were getting a bit fed up with Donald, but I think that was the media painting him as the baddie. And in actual fact, I think you might find that Donald is a goodie, and that, he's been kind of edged out at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think the world might be in safer hands with the Donald.
Yeah. No, that's quite interesting. So that would be the first time, would it not, Scottie, that for talk's sake, if someone was voted out, then he was voted back in, and then he could win another term after that?
I'm just trying to think who else was in America. I mean, we did it with Churchill. We had him in, was it 3 times? Wilson was in a couple of times.
That'd be interesting to see.
Jade says, I love it when you have a chat with that Alex Creature. Here's Professor Numpty Head, who was cheeking up to me about being late when we're actually early tonight. Scottie, do you know what the MG stands for in MG Motors? Yes, Numpty Head. It stands for Morris Garages. So it was a hybrid of Morris Motors, William Morris from Oxford, who started with a bicycle shop, providing bicycles to the students, and then he got involved in motor cars. And of course, he did these lovely Morris cars, which are very solid little characters, great, very reliable cars, including the Morris Minor, the Morris 8, you know, all that sort of stuff, and the Morris Oxford. And he was based in Oxford. He became Lord Nuffield. And then also, as you know, aside of that, they started Morris Garages and used to soup the little Morrises up with an extra carburetor and a few more cc's.
Did you still do the MG cars?
Yeah, there are MG cars for sale, but I don't quite know who's behind it all.
Right, so maybe another company.
Well, it became MG Rover, and then these guys turned over the Rover company, you know.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you get your heating fixed, Scottie?
Yes, it's roasting hot tonight, you know, but I don't want to put it off just now because the engineer's going to check there's some little thing playing a trick. So he's just going to check what's playing a trick.
Right, okay.
You know, you see, we used to have this in television. And some nights, do you remember the announcers used to apologize when the film broke down?
Yes.
So say it was Bridge over the River Kwai. Up would come a slide with a caption saying Bridge over the River Kwai. And the duty announcer, very often myself, would pop up and say, well, I'm sorry, we seem to have lost our movie this evening. We'll certainly do everything we can to get it back for you as soon as possible. Meantime, here's some music. And we'd play some nice, relaxing music that would keep the listener, or the viewer, I should say, interested for a minute or two till we sorted it. Now, film was very valuable. And when they sent the film out to the companies, you had to look after it because celluloid could scratch. And you had these wonderful machines called telecine machines. And if a piece of dust got in, rather than scratch the film, the machine would stop. So if somebody, you know, hadn't made sure the film was absolutely dust-free, the machine would stop and the telly would stop. And of course, it threw everything because ITV runs to the exact second. You know, so you had to sort out all the time.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting, Scottie. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's a wee bit of something. Here's Keith Snedden sending me £5.
Excellent.
Character holding their head in their hands saying, you're my number one. Keith, what a lovely thing to do. Thank you.
Yes. Well, every penny, Scottie.
Oh, it's wonderful. My dad had an Austin Cambridge. It was like a tank, says David.
Excellent. But as I said, I think we spoke before, I like the car I've got, and I think I'll stick with the make. It's Peugeot. I think it's been really good so far.
Lovely, solid French car maker.
Very comfortable to sit in, Scottie.
They always were. The French were very, very good. They weren't great in the early days because they had better weather. Their bodywork wasn't really of the best. So you had to chase the bodywork, but the cars themselves were quite outstanding. Peugeot, Citroën. You see, Citroën brought out in the 30s, I think, traction avant, which you'll know from your French experience means front-wheel drive.
Right.
You see, traction avant. And they had the Citroën Light 15, you know? So you had that sort of thing. And there were beautiful cars. And then you had the DS Palace. And DS is Deus. And Deus is God in Latin or Greek. The Deus. So the Citroën DS, and they were very smooth. And their suspension was so advanced.
Right.
So you were, you know, riding on air. Riding on pneumatic suspension, beautiful stuff.
I think just now is it that Peugeot own Citroën, and I'm not sure about Renault. I think Renault and Nissan Renault own Nissan, actually, sorry.
Yes. The Renaults were very, very smooth cars as well. There was a beauty called a Renault 17 with a column change and a bench seat. And it was a lovely, lovely car.
They were popular, weren't they? I think I remember that car.
Oh, yes, there wasn't a sound out there. And when I was young, there was a little Renault called the Dauphin with a little rear engine.
Right.
Citroen Dauphin. Sorry, Renault Dauphin. Right. And I had the Citroen Amy 8 estate car.
Right.
Lovely things. You could throw them about in the road.
Well, as I said, I think I'll stick with my Peugeot. No idea what to get next, but it's amazing how cars just change. You know, like they have a model out for a certain amount of years, they revamp it, and then it's like a total different car after that when they go for a new system.
Well, Peugeot, if you had a family, Peugeot used to do a lovely thing called a 504 saloon or an estate. And a 504 estate, I think it even had little rear-facing back seats for extra children.
Wow, yeah.
Lovely big thing. Beautiful colours as well, sort of damson coloured, you know?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where cars are going to be moving now and for the future, because I think you've mentioned before, Scottie, you've got two older cars. And I find, like, when I buy a car, like my car's only a few years old, but I don't want it to be like a massive computer inside. I don't mind having a screen on it, but I don't want all these extra stuff. But, you know, I'm there to drive the car, not play about.
You see, I can back you 100%. I have no interest in state-of-the-art electronics in a car. I want the car to start and run. The most modern thing I need in it's a radio.
Yes.
And that's just to get the news and things.
I make sure it's DAB radio. It has to be a DAB radio.
Well, I don't have a DAB radio. This is just an ordinary FM radio.
Right.
And I've got a CD player as well for my Jimmy Shan CDs.
Well, it's, yeah.
So if anybody pulls up to me with banging tunes, I'll give them a bit of the Dashing White Sergeant.
Yes. Oh, listen, I'm losing my voice, Scottie. The last few days I've been coming home, falling asleep after teaching
you're big exhausted.
McCLUE dancing.
Yeah. You're big exhausted. There's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, I think what we do, and this might be interesting for some, and I don't think people actually know about this, but when people are out their comfort zone, especially kids, when you've got boys sitting on one side, girls sitting on the other side, and then you have to say, right, gentlemen, pick a lady, please. And then you get them all. You'll get ones that will go straight away, but then you've got a group that are just, I'm not doing that. And there's so much, you know, you can see the anxiety in a lot of the kids.
Yeah, they're very, very shy because you see, they're not used to it. Their communication is their phones.
Yes, texting.
So they're out their comfort zone because it's reality.
Mm-hmm.
Is you have to talk face to face with another human being.
Yeah.
And of course, when I was wee, that was all there was.
Yes.
People used to say, ask your dad, ask your uncle, ask your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you actually went and you communicated.
Yeah, to talk. Well, what we've done to try and combat that problem, because there was a lot of behaviour issues as well because of that. People dancing with other people, you know, putting their hand inside their sleeve and being very disrespectful. Well, what we wanted to do to obviously respect LGBTIQ plus children as well, we decided, okay, we're going to do the traditional dance. However, you dance with anyone you want. It could be your pal, it could just pick anybody. And it's amazing now the difference with the attitude and all having a giggle and all having a laugh. But you still get the one or two that are still a bit anxious, but on the majority, a lot of them are happy because they're just dancing with their pals.
And when children are reacting in a silly way, it usually is an anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, there's usually something making them a bit anxious.
Yeah. And it's looking out for the cues, as you know, what's setting them off before they flip the lid or whatever, you know.
Yeah, what's triggering them and what have you, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you see, you're getting different issues nowadays in education. You're getting children who may have parents that are alcoholic or are drug dependent. Yeah. And the child may well have had a good dose of drugs in the womb.
Yes, and you can tell because they look very malnutritioned. They've not developed properly compared to their peers, and you can see that with a lot of kids that they're a lot smaller and skinnier. It's a real shame.
Yeah, and it used to be, you used to have this because there was quite a lot of drinking in the old days with all sorts of parents, and there was also a lot of smoking. So sometimes you got wee ones because the mother was a big smoker.
Right. Okay.
So you could get that as well, and they might be prematurely born or anything like that. And we got rid of the smoking, and then of course in came the drugs.
Well, yes. And is it vaping now that they're all seem to be doing it?
That's the other thing. You see, you actually don't need anything at all. If you want a proper high, nothing. That's why McCLUE's high all the time, because he doesn't take anything.
I was questioned the other day, Scottie, because the nights out, in December, everybody's out for the Christmas nights out.
Of course.
And are you not going to drink? Now, I said, no, I don't need to drink to have a good time. I can drink if I want, but I've not ever been a big drinker. I just don't really see the reason to.
It doesn't do anything for you, as they say.
Yeah, but when I do have a drink, it's a very cheap night because I get very hyper very quickly.
Excellent stuff. You just become more of you.
Well, I think you do let your hair down a bit, but I just think I'm happy not to have a drink on me. The way I see it is you see so much of the danger that and the hurt that causes so much people in society.
Of course.
Hitting calories, all this kind of stuff as well. Just like it's not needed. The odd drink, Scottie, from time to time is fine. A wee toast or something. But apart from that, I'm fine.
Well, you don't need it. Well, I'm done without it, I think, for about 6 or 7 years, and I really don't miss it at all.
Yeah.
Good evening. What about this one, Kareem?
Have a good giggle.
Well, we could get a giggle anyway. Kareem, what about this one? Good evening from India.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
That is fantastic.
They're listening to Scottie McCLUE in India.
I wonder what time it is over in India just now.
Well, I don't know the time in India. What I'll do is, once we get set up properly, and it'll take some time, because everything's on a shoestring, we'll get a load of clocks. Not necessarily the most expensive, just little digital clocks, and pop the labels below them, the time in India and Japan, Eastern Standard Time in America, Pacific Time, Greenwich Mean Time, and we'll be able just to look at the clocks and tell you exactly what's going on.
Yeah, because it's earlier just now in America.
Well, this is one of the reasons I think we haven't cracked America, is because it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they'll all be at their work.
Yeah.
They're
finishing school.
I mean, you imagine if there was a phone-in on in this country at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All you'd be able to say is, oh, blast, I've missed that.
Yeah.
Now, my figures double overnight, people catching up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Because it's getting late, they're settling down in front of the computer, they're watching things. Oh, there's Scottie, right, let's have a look.
Here we go. Glenn's telling us it's 2:47 a.m. in India. He's just Googled it.
Right, 2:47 a.m. Goodness.
Is that wonderful?
Right. Yes.
So there you go, my dear fellow. Anyway, a better dash.
Thank you, Scottie, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Thank you. Take great care of yourself. Don't knock yourself up too much with all the work.
Thank you. Well, it's Friday, Scottie, so I'm really glad the weekend's around.
Yeah, but you need to enjoy the dances and the proms and all that as well.
Yes, but my ankles are killing me. They're swollen. But anyway, listen, I'll let you go, and thanks anyway, and I'll speak tomorrow.
Fantastic. You've been doing too much paddy bar. Paddy bar.
Love it.
See you, lad. Dinky-Doo. That's our Kareem. What a great guy. He's teaching social dancing to young people. You're live at Scottie McCLUE. Who's that?
It's David. How are you, son?
Oh, David, son. How are you doing? 2:47 in India. People are listening in India, David.
It's weird. You see the thing. I can't believe one sun goes around the whole planet.
Oh, I know.
Right? Because when our daylight goes out, it goes dark, that sun goes to another country and it's daylight.
Absolutely, it's daylight there. Here's McCLUE. I'm in the USA and it's 2:19 p.m.
My God.
So he's just finished his lunch.
In the morning, is that right?
No, PM, 2:19 p.m. So he's just finished his lunch.
So that's daylight time, yeah.
Uh-huh. And here's Angela saying Celtic 1, Hearts 0.
What's football?
It must be football, aye.
I'm not really into
We
that
don't bother with any of that nonsense on here.
No, son, no.
Fantastic. And I like it. And people will get to know that and they'll go, no, I don't bother with football. I listen to Scottie McCLUE.
Aye, and a wee bit of trifle in Scottie McCLUE.
A wee bit of nonsense with Scottie McCLUE. And I'll tell you, we've had great calls, including your good self. Did you see all these calls are put up?
No, Scottie, I'll tell you why. Because I was in bed all day. I was a bit knackered, and my cat, always my cat says, "Get out the bed, meow, meow."
Aye, all that stuff. Yeah, getting you up. They're like wee alarm clocks. There's Drewski says it's 4:20 in Ontario, but 4 o'clock is Scottie McCLUE time. So
where's Ontario?
Ontario is in North America, Canada.
Right.
Just at the lakes. You've got the Lake Ontario and Lake Huron and Lake Michigan.
Right. Well,
and Lake Erie. You've got the Great Lakes.
See, Canada's... I wish I was born in Canada because they get a lot of snow.
They get a lot. Do you like the snow?
Oh, I love the snow. Scott always did, yeah.
Fantastic. I had a colleague who had lived in Canada and he just didn't feel the cold over here.
Right.
He was used to wrapping up all the time, you know what I mean? Malky's just about to have his lunch at 19 minutes past 2.
Oh my God, you know what I mean? Well, I'm sitting with a wee can of cider.
You're having a wee cider and it's wonderful. Hello, Scottie. Hi from Ireland. I love watching, says James.
Yeah, you go. You know what I mean? Here, Scottie, do you remember you were speaking about if the water was turned upside down, the water would come out of the sea?
Well, that's what I thought. We were wondering if you could be with a flat earth. And do you remember we had Edward came on from Ireland?
I think, yes, he did, yes.
And he said to us, no, there's no way the earth is flat.
Yeah, that's correct. You know what I mean? And it was quite a good conversation.
It was a very good, very smart guy. Scottie, lots of news about Barbados becoming a republic. What the critics don't realise is the monarchy is value for money. Big Daddy, you're 100% correct. They'll regret it. Every one of these countries that's got rid of the monarchy deeply regrets it. Keith Snedden has sent me another $5.
There you go, so that's good.
He says, I love everyone on the chat. Scottie show, brilliant. Love everyone here from Keith. Isn't that nice?
Brilliant.
What a lovely man.
Talking about fivers and money, I'll need to send something.
No, you're always sending. Don't you be giving your hard earned.
You know your wee GoFundMe thing?
Yes.
That's simple.
Very, very kind of you. I'll tell you another one, David. It's up the top of the YouTube and it's just paypal.me/Scottie McCLUE.
Right.
And that puts it straight in as well.
That's good. That's interesting. As I say, I've got the GoFundMe page. Do you know what I mean?
Just whenever or whatever, there is no charge for watching Scottie McCLUE. If somebody wants to give something, that's lovely.
And before I go, I've got a great imagination, including...
A wonderful imagination. You're a hoot.
See my dreams. I'm always dreaming I'm flying, seriously flying.
Flying?
It's not... yes, flying.
Wow.
Like a superhero. And I'd won this morning. I was in a certain city in the dream, and I remember going up this pathway to this mountain. But as when I got up the top of the pathway, all the water was coming in, and it was like the end of the world.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then I had to go and save people back in the city because it was getting ruined. And I remember entering this big skyscraper. I said to the people, we need to go up to the top of the skyscraper because all the water's coming into the city. And I said, get prepared. I'm here to help you. Now, I said, when I think about the earth, say for instance I said to you, could I turn you upside down on YouTube That'd be amazing. Do you get me?
I get you, yes, absolutely. Now, but the thing is, I might fall out my seat. Now, here's what, Davey, right? You see, we turned Scottie McCLUE upside down and he came out his chair. Newton's third law. Isaac Newton's third law, what goes up must come down.
Well, there you go, that's a good old saying, isn't it?
Aye, I think that's Newton's third law. Now, here you go. What about this one? I wonder if we've got any dream interpreters watching. Because I have a recurring dream. Do you know what I mean by recurring dream? Years of it. And it's the same dream comes back to you. And there's no problem with it. And I'm lying on my tummy in the cockpit of an aircraft looking out the wee windows at the Statue of Liberty in New York.
Wow, that's a dream.
Yeah, that's one of them. There's another one. I wonder if we get any dream interpreters, and this is also recurring. A beautiful, cold, dark blue night in the desert. And I'm at the oasis filling up my water bottle, and I hear this soft noise. And it's a camel train. And all these guys on the camels just walk past, right? Sitting on the they don't speak. They don't acknowledge me. They stare at me out the wee slit in their top burnous, right? And they just ride past. Right. Very, very strange.
It's remarkable stuff, and it dreams, seriously, honestly, wow, incredible stuff.
And I remember talking to a marvellous guy, who's a big public figure, and he, pardon me, he used to come into the radio station. And I told him about this dream I had of a bear running away up a fresh stream from me, running away. And he was going, what was the water like? How deep was it, right? And were the pebbles there? And was the bear in the water? And he was giving it all this, and he was telling me all what it meant.
Amazing.
Oh, fascinating. Some of these people are genuinely fascinating.
Oh, dreams, I just love it. Oh,
so I wonder if we've got any dream interpreters that could tell us about that.
Well, I mean, I've heard that they've got a book of dreams. Years ago, I used to go to shops in West End to pick up books, but I don't know who made the book of dreams. I don't know if it's real.
Well, this is what you don't know, but you see, these people telling you things a bit like the guys that used to come to the station and they were psychics.
I love them. Oh, yeah.
And my job was actually to sort of, well, say to them, oh, but that can't be. But I must confess, I really admired these guys.
Yeah, because I've heard the calls about you were on your show and a man came on and he was saying this and
that. And he was absolutely spot on. And then another one says to me one night when he was talking to me off air, he goes, Scottie, you're staying around somewhere with wood. And I went, no, I don't think so. There's no wood near where I am. He went, no, it's in the street. He says it's like, Pine Road or something. And I was staying in I think it was a Larch Avenue or something.
Yeah.
And I said, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You got it on the button. Do you know what I mean? Right.
Very, very good. What I've done, Davey, I've just posted a link to the earlier broadcast. I don't know what happens. If somebody, when you go off, if you want to try that link in the chat.
Right. I'll try the link in the chat.
See if it works. See what it takes you to.
Right, hold on. I'm a wee bit not computer savvy. Right, going to say this to John.
John will sort it. John, if you look in the chat, you'll see a hyperlink. Hello, John. How are you doing, lad?
How are you doing, son?
Great, lovely to hear you. If you look in the chat, John, I've just posted a hyperlink. If you can see where it takes you and just maybe write me a wee bit chat back.
Right, hyperlink.
Aye, just a live link.
Right, okay.
It says HTTPS and then, the / studio.youtube.com.
Right, okay. Hyperlink. Is it hyper or hyper?
Hyper, a hyperlink. It just means it's a live link. It just means if you click it, it'll take you there.
Right, Okay, I'll do it for you, Scotty, okay?
You're a top man. Love you lots.
Okay, son.
Thanks, John.
I'll let you go, son.
See you, Davey. Lovely talking to you.
You too, DINKY-DOO, my friend.
DINKY-DOO, Lala. Top man. Fantastic.
Bye-bye.
That's our Davey. There he goes. Now, there we go. Numpty Heat is talking to a doctor. There we go. Now, who have we got? Phil, don't cheek up to these people. Who's this? You're live with Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hiya, Scotty. How you doing?
Hey, Glenla, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks yourself.
Well, we're busy tonight.
Definitely. I tried to get through first time just before Kareem rang up.
Right, and it was just ringing out.
It was a bit glitchy at points. It says this person is currently...
Well, I rang Alex Belfield last night to give him a piece of my mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't get through. It was the same thing with him. He was very, very busy.
Are you going to try again then?
Well, I might at some point, but I mean, he's got 352,000 subscribers.
Right,
yeah. And you'll hear him do quite a bit of Scottie McCLUE chat.
Has he been, Scottie, I'm not stepping off at Mark or anything, but has he been in trouble by any chance? Because I saw something on YouTube. Was it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Glenn. I don't pry.
I'm not reading so much into it. I'm not going to say so much about it.
No, I don't pry. All I know is I like to give him a piece of my mind.
Whatever happens on the internet stays between the...
Stays on the internet. Scottie, what's your thoughts on a united Celtic nation, Scotland, Ireland, and Scotland brothers?
I put something up earlier on, you know, when you popped up earlier about cursing, Scottie. You know, curse, swearing and that.
Yeah, oh yeah, right. I heard that on the YouTube. Yeah, because we popped up on the YouTube earlier to try to explain to people how to actually... Did you see the little video telling them how to subscribe?
I did, yes, yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was good stuff, yeah.
You know, very, very strange. I thought, right, I need to explain to these people. Here's what you do, because it's very complicated. You go on to YouTube and you put in Scottie McCLUE, the internet phone in, and you click subscribe. What's not to like?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you reckon swearing is okay in moderation? Then?
I don't like it on social media because we're guests in people's houses.
No, I mean, you know, like we've been humour, we've been...
yeah, but you don't actually need it.
You know, when people socialise on things, we've been... It's too much in it.
Well, I think there's too much of it. And also, I think a lot of these people on some social media sites are very, very poorly educated.
It's a lot of slang in it, all this. They don't pronounce, they don't put those words out well enough, do they really?
Well, this is it. And they also use things like use instead of you.
Yeah.
I told yous about that. You say, no, it's not yous, it's you.
Your pronunciation of the way people say things in street slang.
Yeah.
Is just so... I don't know whether it's a dim-witted or not. I think that might be a bit...
No, I think dim-witted might be a bit harsh, but they just... But you see, now Yorkshire dialect...
Maybe ignorant.
Yorkshire dialect's different because they miss out the word. So they don't go, here's the police. They go, ooh, here's police.
And from different backgrounds, you know, from different areas of the United Kingdom and wherever, it can be a bit snobbish towards different societies.
Well, that's right. But you see, Yorkshire people don't care because they're right. Yeah. You see, I saw somebody try to correct somebody once, and it was so funny. They tried to correct a Yorkshireman about his own place.
You can't, can you?
No. And they told him straight back. And it was very funny. But, you know, when they're telling a story, they're going things like, anyway, she's shouting and bawling, he's shouting back. Next thing, Bobby's come.
Yeah, exactly.
I love all that chat, you know?
I mean, like I said, if people were more open-minded towards different societies and backgrounds.
Yeah. Well, you see, I always have been. I mean, when I went to Yorkshire, I didn't think, oh, God, I've got to go to Yorkshire when I loved Scotland so much. I didn't think any of that. I thought, this is brilliant, but I've got a lot to learn. I thought, and I'm not going to be a smarty pants.
Yeah, they'll tell you they'll tell you straight.
They'll tell us straight. So when I went on there, you know, well, I mean, I did educate them, you know, they loved that. But I'll say, I've come down from Scotland to educate thee.
With a bit of humour.
I remember I used to say things like, look, love, I didn't come all the way down from Scotland to educate thee to put up with all this cheek.
You loved it. Scottie, it's just out of this world, weren't it?
Remember, we used to say things like, when they start shouting at us, and I would say, excuse me, were you brought up to speak to people on radio like that?
There's one or two phone-ins from Pastor where they're just dim-witted, Scottie.
Remember, we used to say, you need to get a life, love. They used to go, that should get life, that should get life.
They dim-witted some of these people, but it was so funny.
And we used to say, don't give us all the these and thous, love. Speak proper like.
He bar gum, lad, and all that. It's brilliant stuff, though, choose what in it.
Well, I think everybody in Yorkshire certainly enjoyed that, you know, it was right laugh.
Yeah.
And they used to say that, they used to say, it's right laugh, Scottie.
Bloody Nora and all that, Scottie.
But they didn't like, the ladies in Barnsley did not like it.
Scottie, you were very...
There's nothing wrong with us bottoms.
You were very in the bad books, weren't you?
Oh, you see, I told you they wouldn't serve me at the top wagon.
And single mothers and all, Scottie.
That's right. Are you him? No, you're not getting out. So we'll do as a bacon bottle of no.
Did you get that a lot with people in Sheffield?
Oh, sometimes just for a bit laugh, but I mean they generally loved it, you know.
Yeah, banter aside and all.
Yes, that's the stuff.
You can bottle it up though, couldn't you? It's priceless, Scottie, to be fair, isn't it?
And you were telling Sheffield people how to behave as Sheffield people. And that's funny. So you say, look, love, can I just explain to you how we do things in Sheffield? And they go, what are you talking about? I'm Sheffield born and bred. I said, right, well, you should know better then.
It's amazing, though, the rivalry between Barnsley and Sheffield.
Oh, right, yeah, great fun. Have you noticed when you say to Sheffielders, you mention Barnsley, they go, they're a funny lot, that. They're a funny lot. And then when you're in Barnsley, you mention Sheffield, they go, well, you see, they're not Barnsley people. They don't know what's right from wrong.
There's a rivalry in there.
Oh, yes. Was Vera Duckworth from Yorkshire? No, she was Lancashire, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who was that guy?
Vera Duckworth in Coronation Street.
Yeah, Lancashire. Bill Tommy as well. Brilliant.
Yep, absolutely. How can Scottie do this for free, says Joey? Because we want to, Joey. We want people to get entertained.
There probably has been one or two cross the roses divide the one, Corey.
Oh, yes. I mean, I can remember actually phoning a very senior person at Granada Television to see if there was any parts going. Yeah. And they said, no, but I'll tell you, I'll give you the name of somebody to ring over at Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? There were great things, and I then ended up doing something else. So it's funny the turns that life takes.
You should have been on Corrie, Scottie.
You know, I mean, I auditioned as a BBC announcer about 43 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't get it. And I was talking to some senior BBC announcers recently on social media and saying I would be retiring now.
Mm-hmm.
But had I worked at the BBC as an announcer for 40 years, we wouldn't have had Scottie McCLUE's phone in.
That's something that's worked, obviously it's worked in your favour than Scottie, and to be fair.
Well, I think so, to be honest. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. What's their loss in it is our gain, definitely.
Because I would have spent my life, people going, who's the guy you hear on BBC?
You wouldn't have been what you are now, then, would
well,
you?
No, because you see, everybody knows Scottie McCLUE.
Yeah, and that's a massive praise here, isn't it?
You know? And when people say, don't you be too big on it, I say, I'm not being big on it at all, love.
You never let it get big to you, really, have you?
No, I've not been big on it at all. And I tell them that. They say, oh, yes, all right. Yeah, don't encourage him. You know, he'll be blowing his trumpet. I thought, I've never blown my trumpet in my life.
Yeah.
You know, it's very funny. It's other people blow your trumpet.
Well, exactly.
They say, hey, Scottie, when are we getting you back on wireless, on radio?
Yeah.
Nights are not the same. You know, now you think it's amazing. In 1997 in Sheffield, most of Yorkshire started listening to the radios at night.
Definitely.
Taxi drivers, nurses, the whole lot.
I was still at school in 90s, Scottie, when I was listening to you.
I used to get a taxi home sometimes from Hallam, and the driver would be saying, he'd pick us up and he would say, do you know Scottie McCLUE then? I would say, I do. Said, what? I've been listening to him all night. He's gone now. He's off. I said, all right, is he?
You know? Brilliant stuff. I mean, I've mentioned it to one or two people. They've heard about you, Scottie.
It's interesting, isn't it? And I mean, we're right down through the Midlands, right into London.
Yeah.
All the truck drivers, you see, that's another mob that were on the road at nights. The truck drivers, and they hadn't anything to entertain them. And we used to be shouting and bawling at them.
Even the prisoners, Scottie, and everybody.
The prisoners in the slammer. Do you know what I mean? Amazing. Do you know what Keith Snedden's just done?
What's that?
Sent me another £5.
Oh, brilliant.
What a beautiful man. That's three.
You're a national treasure, Scottie, anyway.
3 £5s. Well, you're a national treasure yourself, then. I better go, love, or we'll be getting dumped.
I'll be going mental.
I'll have to sack me, son.
DINKY-DOO, Scottie.
Love you lots.
Love you, Scottie.
DINKY-DOO, Lala. All the best. Ta-ra now. That's our Glenn. Fantastic. To the telephones, guys. Thank you so much, Keith. That's a lovely thing to do. You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that? Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yep, who's that? If you just turn down the background.
Yeah, I've just done it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I just had a quick question for you.
Yeah, who is it? Have you got a first name?
Yeah, it's Gemma.
Gemma, lovely to hear you, and DINKY-DOO.
Yeah, I just wanted to know your opinion on Alex Belfield when he uses the catchphrase fart heads.
Fart heads, he's nicked that from me. That's a Scottie McCLUEism. I used to talk about fart heads. These people are fart heads, love.
Yeah.
Alex was a big student of Scottie McCLUE.
Yeah.
Taught him all he knows, love.
How do you feel about it?
I don't actually mind if he's doing it. And you see, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. He can't use DINKY-DOO and he can't use Scottie McCLUE because they're trademarked.
Yeah.
You know, but everything else, all the other sayings, the fart heads, stick your head up your backside, blow your nose till the pressure equalizes. Don't try that at home now. That's for entertainment purposes only.
And that's your saying.
Yeah, these are all my sayings. Argy-bargy.
Oh dear.
Little bit of argy-bargy. Tippity-tappity.
So you tried to get through to him last night then?
Tried to get through to him last night to give him a piece of my mind.
What was you going to say?
I was going to tell him off for his behaviour to Scotland. And tell him to stop swearing.
You don't like swearing?
Well, no, it's not I don't like swearing. I mean, I'm no saint. I just don't think it's right when you're guests in people's houses.
Well,
so I'm just going to pull him up. But he's a terrific character. And he's very good at what he actually doesn't need any Scottie McCLUEisms because he's actually very good at what he does.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is.
You know, and I like watching some of his videos. I've only started watching them. Some are quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts a lot of work in, and he's got the rewards. He's got 352,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
I've got 3,000.
Any grudge? Yeah, but it's nice you don't hold any grudges or anything like that.
No, I don't. Well, I'll tell you what I've always said, and I'll say this to Alex Belfield: there's room for everyone.
Yeah.
This idea, oh, he's stealing me stuff, and you know, there's millions and millions of people out there wanting entertain, and the only reason they're not watching Scottie McCLUE is because we're only 10 weeks old, and they don't know about it.
Well, I know my dad's been watching you, listening to you, sorry, for years and years. You know, you're one of his favourites. And he is actually watching you now. He's quite excited when you said that you're going to be doing your live phone in.
Hi, Dad. How are you? What's his first name?
His name's Kevin.
Kevin. Lovely to have you with us, La. And DINKY-DOO from Scottie McCLUE.
All right, that's all I wanted to say.
And Gemma, whereabouts are you phoning from, roughly?
I'm in Plymouth.
In Plymouth. I love it. And was I wrong when I pronounced it Plymouth all these years ago?
Plymouth.
I said, now it's time to go over to St Andrews in Plymouth for our morning service.
Well, it looks like it should be said like that, doesn't it?
It does look like that, but everyone said it's Plymouth. And I take it, are you actually at the mouth of the Plym?
Well, I'm near, say, like the Plymouth Hoe and that lot. So,
all right, beautiful. Francis Drake.
Yeah.
Lovely. Lovely, lovely part of the world. Gemma, lovely to hear you. Thanks for ringing in, La.
You take care.
Hey, and DINKY-DOO. See you,
Bye.
lovey.
Bye.
Isn't that beautiful? Bye-bye. Scottie, if you were around in the Jurassic period, it would be Yabby Dabby DINKY-DOO. Absolutely. I was around in the Jurassic period. You know, I remember I had a friend who was a one-eyed dinosaur. He was a Jathinkysaurus. Who's this? You're live at Scottish Fun In. Who's that?
Hello, Scotty, man. It's Martin. How are you?
Martin, La, how are you?
Fine, you, son. You?
DINKY-DOO, very, very busy tonight, Martin.
Yes, I got rid of my bed tonight. I got rid of a sofa tonight. So because I'm getting new furniture on Friday.
Right.
Next Friday, I'm getting a new sofa, a new wash machine, fridge, coffee table, and all that coming in next Friday.
Wow, Martin, you guys must be doing very well.
And I got another 10 gifts today.
Gee, amazing. Hey, here's Keith Snedden that sent £15 tonight. He says, brilliant show. Hope what I've sent will help. Keith, what you've sent is so beautiful. Thank you. Top man. Amazing, Martin. I mean, it's lovely.
So how's your day been? Good?
A lovely, lovely day today. Met some super people. And we did a little pop-up earlier.
What's that video you wrote about saying a turkey? £25, what was that?
Well, no, I passed a shop and it said in the window, turkey for Christmas, £25. I thought, that's a very cheap holiday. I'm going to book it.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I think it must have actually just been for a turkey, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a wee joke, Martin.
Nice.
Do you like it?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful. There's Kirsty saying, lol, Archie. Scottie, what's the difference between a wireless and a radio? Well, there isn't actually much difference because wireless just meant that you weren't connecting to the airwaves by a wire. You were connecting through the airwaves, so it was wireless. And that's what was wrong with the internet when it started. It was solid. But now they're using a lot of wireless technology to connect on the internet.
Yes.
Amazing. Look at this. I'm a big fan, says San Schwisser. Isn't that lovely?
Yes, and on YouTube, there's someone uploading Take the High Road series, but they're on to 1985 now.
Oh, wow, it's brilliant. Have you been watching them?
Yes, I've watched them and I've been downloading them as
They're
well.
beautifully made, aren't they?
Yeah, they are amazing because sometimes I like to change. I like it when the tune goes into like the blue colours, when it goes into colour a bit.
Da ra 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 ra.
Yes,
The music was done by a wonderful guy called Arthur Blake, who was the musical director for Scottish television.
Yes.
Scottish television had a huge talent base. And that's why I wanted to work for them. And in the early days, they were based in the Theatre Royal in Glasgow, the old theatre, and they'd floored over the stage and the auditorium, and that was their #1 studio. Then there was a fire, and they had to sort that out. Then they built brand new studios, and the Theatre Royal was totally refurbished, very beautiful. And I got to work in the Theatre Royal. And they were round the corner from Scottish Television. So I was working where all the ghosts from 1957 had worked. And then I moved round the corner and worked for Scottish Television.
Wow.
And Sir William Brown, who was the managing director of Scottish Television, was also on the board of Scottish Opera. Isn't that lovely?
Yes. So do you remember Home and Away?
It's £20 that Keith sent tonight. You're welcome. Keith, thank you. Very, very, very generous.
Do you remember the soap opera Home and Away?
Home and Away, yes, I do. I used to watch it.
What about the Ben Cosby show, the Cosby Show?
Yeah, I didn't watch that so much. I'll tell you what we used to watch in the afternoon, The Young Doctors. What about that? Do you remember that one?
Yes, and I remember the Thornbirds. I love that.
The Thornbirds with Richard Chamberlain.
Yes,
Beautiful.
Like that.
Beautiful, Martin.
Yeah.
Big Daddy says, can we start a Matey Boy Appreciation Society?
Why?
And Susan says, yes, I agree, Big Daddy. Well, it's people that are fans of Matey Boy.
Matey Boy.
Matey Boy, you see, and people are fans, you see, different strokes for different folks, Martin.
I actually still laugh at that video of him calling you back.
Yes, he did. He said, you're so thick.
Aye. Now you said you have to give him a lifetime ban for that.
A lifetime ban? How dare he?
I know. So how's the weather down in Glasgow? It's very, very wet and dry.
No, it's been a lovely day today, actually. It really has been very nice. Because it was bucketing and bucketing and bucketing yesterday and the day before. But it was very, very nice today. It was a lovely, lovely day because I was out early in the morning. Sometimes I have time to broadcast, sometimes I don't.
I've listened to your broadcast on your channel, broadcast something utensils or I actually listened to them, very, very good.
Which one was that?
I've watched them all.
Oh.
All the videos.
Well done. Have you heard the new podcast from yesterday?
Yes, it's very, very good.
I thought that was amazing. That was a super interviewer, that gentleman, James Marriott.
See that voice? Is that your own voice?
That's my own voice, dear boy. Yes, that's the way I've always spoken.
Because I've seen a picture of you. You look a lot different than now. Because you were a young man and you had brown hair.
I had brown hair, and if you listen to me reading the news, it's the same voice.
Plus, I went back on YouTube and watched that video with that cheeky woman, again, that cheeky lady, calling you fat, and you got on her, and you said, do you, she used to call you fat and all that, and you said to her, do you agree that people are all fast? And you said, don't be so rude, and you're basically, I think you called her stupid.
Yes.
And she stupid back.
Well, she was stupid.
Because she was very, very cheeky to you.
She was very cheeky, and she also was stupid, the stuff she was coming out with. Do you remember Wolfgang at Red Rose, says Blackie the Bull? Yes, I do. Keith Snedden says, can I pay for your boiler? Keith, that is so lovely of you. No, I wouldn't ask that of you, but thank you. Thank you, thank you.
How's your TikTok people getting on? Oh,
Malky says, I remember listening to you in the 90s on what's now Real Radio. Isn't that lovely? Well, it's not Real Radio now. I think it's Heart. In Derbyshire, they says, how's thee sin? Here's Chris saying, hail, hail. No, it wasn't hail. It was just heavy rain, Chris. Yep, absolutely.
Do you remember, let me see, I was going to say there, God, I forgot, damn.
Oh, don't worry, don't worry. Listen, I'll have to dash anyway, Martin. Lovely to hear you.
Yes, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
And you promise me you'll take great care of your dear self?
And my fiancée as
and
well.
Emma as well, I was just going to say.
She's getting a lot better now.
Wonderful. Tell her we're all asking for her.
Can I get a quick weather update before you go?
Weather update. Well, much better for this time of year, of course. Still a little bit cold, so try and stay in certainly till after 10 o'clock and watch Scottie McCLUE live on YouTube and TikTok. That's your weather. Good evening.
Right.
See you, Martin. DINKY-DOO. See you, Lala. Do you remember Phil from Red Rose? Yes, I do, Phil. Hello, it's Phil here. There we are. Ralston, says Big Daddy. Now, what do we got here? Gemma's on a mission. Yes, Gemma from Plymouth. George, Scottie, do you do buns suppers? I do. I do, George. I'm a buns scholar. So there we are. Fantastic stuff. Who have we got here? You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
It's David, quick call. It's David again.
Oh, quick call, David. Lovely to hear you.
Right, because I want somebody to join in. Anyway, I like that lady who phoned in a minute ago about Alex Belfour, etc. You know. Also, where's all the other women? Please phone in. It's all men.
It's all men. We want to get the women, but I think, Scottie McCLUE, I think a lot of the women got a wee bit fed up. See, I'm the father of feminism. I could tell them all about themselves.
Oh, son, I mean, I know Susan's not well or something, and Dee's not well.
Dee's wonderful when Dee calls in, but we need to get more women. But I think that I think that's it's a kind of male thing that it's built up over the years because the women got a telling off.
I know, my son, right? I'll let you.
Because I used to ask them when they come on, had they done the high dusting?
It's funny talking about dusting. I've got a wee duster. It's pink and white and blue.
Oh, lovely. A nice tickling stick for doing your cornice.
That's it. It's tickly. Yes, it is indeed.
Yeah, and you can also give John a wee bit dicht as you go by if he's sitting.
Oh, right. Talk to John. I've got your connection now.
Oh, what happened when he clicked it?
So John's clicked it, and I've sent you a wee comment about I've sent money into your account, and I said it ended DINKY-DOO.
You're a nothing man, Davy. Thank you very, very much for that.
Right, I'll let you go.
You're very kind and very generous, and it's very much appreciated.
No problem, my friend.
My friend.
Right, get another call, quick.
DINKY-DOO, la. That's your Davy. That's very, very kind. Scottie McCLUE is, of course, free at the point of delivery. But if you are feeling flush and you can afford a couple of quid, it all goes towards a new microphone. That's the next thing we're saving up for. You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Oh, hello, there was a bit of a delay there.
A wee delay.
My name's Vijay, right?
What's your name? First name, sorry?
It's Vijay.
Vijay. Oh, Vijay, I've seen you on the chat.
Aye, that's right.
How lovely to hear you and welcome. So good to hear you.
Aye, thanks for the welcome. I was going to say, somebody just said there it's been all guys phoning up the right, but there was a lady with a Yorkshire accent.
Yes, that way from Plymouth. So she actually had a Plymouth accent, but that's right. She came on as well, which was lovely. And I think we'll get a lot more ladies as they, realise what we're all about.
Yeah. Well, feminism has been, it's been a concurrent theme for since, well, probably as long as human beings have existed, but I'd say there's been significant, improvements in that area.
Oh, yes.
We're of leaders throughout the world. There's the Prime Minister of New Zealand, there's Nicola Sturgeon.
Yes, there's the lady, yes, Frau von der Leyen in Europe.
Yeah.
Yes, Theresa May.
I think one of the main issues with feminism, which I've encountered in my life anyway, is that, maybe male ignorance towards women maybe comes from a lack of, socialisation in the early stages of life.
I think you're absolutely right, and I think there's a lot of that, VJ. What I was going to say to you, feminism is actually a wee bit of a con, I think, because it was brought in to get the women out to work.
I don't know about that.
It was, but it was sold to the women as, this will set you free, because you'll have your own money. You see, up until the 70s, a woman couldn't have her own banking money and things. She had to be exceptional.
You've also read about the Chartists, haven't you?
About the
Chartists from 1842 that put the petition forward to Parliament for like more than 10% of people to be allowed to vote.
Yes.
Even at that stage, like democracy evolving, women weren't actually campaigning for themselves to vote. They were campaigning on behalf of the rest of the men that weren't allowed to vote.
VJ, we're going to have to go. We're absolutely out of time.
I was going to ask, like, in future, you know, because when I listen to Nation Radio, I'll let you go if you want. But
no, go on.
I was just going to say, I remember a few musicians used to phone up and play songs occasionally, and I used to listen to that.
Yes, it was wonderful. We had, do you remember the lovely accordionist lady?
I think I remember
Linda, and she played, but the problem is we can't have it on YouTube because you'd get a copyright strike.
Oh, right,
That's your problem. You see, one of the reasons we can get away with what we're doing is it's my original copyright and it's all speech.
Yeah.
So I don't need a license for what I do.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you could find another platform where that isn't so much an issue.
The music, it'd be lovely to have a show with music.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely to say to the callers, we'll just have a wee tune from Jimmy Shand.
Yeah.
You know, but VJ, it's such a privilege to hear you because you've been around a long time. You and I go back a long way.
Yeah, I know.
And you're obviously, you appreciate the whole McCLUE thing. Sorry?
There's a lot of McCLUE appreciation for people that, you know, have heard a lot of the shows and that, eh?
I think that's the whole thing. Where are you from? Are you from the East Coast?
I'm from everywhere. I'm a human being.
Have you got a touch of Dundee or Fife in you?
Dundee, I've been to Dundee a few times, but, well, not many enough to call it a few, but Fife, I've been to Fife a few times.
Fife. And are you an Edinburgh or Glasgow man?
Both, really. I
Both.
Like Glasgow and Edinburgh.
Fantastic.
If you sit on the bus or you can go all the way.
Well, listen, I hope that this is the first of many calls. It'd be lovely. And I'll need to go now because we're way over our time.
Right. Apologise.
No, you don't need to apologize. You've nothing to apologise for. Okay. It's been a joy hearing you. And DINKY-DOO.
Right. Thanks for the show, right?
Thanks, Lala. Much appreciated. That's our VJ. What a lovely guy. Love you, Scottie. Mr. Martin was one of the best, says Kevin. DINKY-DOO, take care, big man. You too, Glenn. Sleep well, Float Eye. DINKY-DOO, Keith Snedden. Thank you for all your wonderful, wonderful kindness tonight. So much appreciated. Guys, what a brilliant, brilliant show. Thursday, show number 94. Can every single one of you watching right now make sure you've subscribed to the YouTube channel and tap the bell for the notifications. All you need to do is click subscribe. That's all we're asking. It's not the end of the world. From me, Scottie McCLUE, thank you so much for watching and for taking part. DINKY-DOO. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock sharp. Until then, sleep well. Ta-ra, lads.